this week's Waffle. There's some thanks, some news, plenty of waffle and a shout out. First, the news on Desmond. The parts are in, the cooker hood is fixed and working well, and I have a new polyfuse. For those who aren't aware what a polyfuse is, it's one of these. I hope that'll focus. It's a tiny little thing in the scheme of things, but in Desmond's setup, all of the current that flows from the batteries and is switched to the various places goes through that little thing, and that's what I'm going to have to replace again in the power supply unit. It's a quick job, I just haven't got round to doing it yet. The other news, of course, is reference to the whole power supply unit. The person has sent me a cheque to cover the cost, but it hasn't yet cleared the bank. But thank yous go out to Dave Bertolini, One Man and His Whippet, and to Alex Thurston, Tledexa, or whatever that channel was I shouted out last week, who've both shouted me out in return, and this is just a little thanks to them. Last weekend's Donda was superb. The weather was better than we expected, a bit windy, managed to fly the drone, so in a few weeks you'll see footage from that. And this week's Donda is out. Yesterday's video shows why I'm going to hell, and that'll be followed up on Friday by the end of our England trip, and I'm afraid none of it's in England, it's all in Scotland. Anyway, on to a waffle. This week's waffle takes place at Mount Pleasant Airfield. For those that don't know, that's in the Falkland Islands. For those that are in the know, they'll know that it was the replacement Air Force, Army, etc. Base built away from Port Stanley after the war. So, what am I going to waffle about? Well, it was a trip down there that took place over Christmas and New Year. And one of the things they gave you in the forces were drug and alcohol abuse lectures. And we shared the hangar engineering facilities with the REME. And so we were both going to take part in a drug and alcohol lecture. The usual thing about, not drinking too much and not having taking drugs. Well, if you took drugs, back then it was, even now it was, shall we say, not very good for your career. So, so quick pause while I strangle the cat. Come on, you want to be on the video? No, she wants to shout, but she doesn't want to play video. Okay, where was I? Oh yes, we were going to have our annual drug and alcohol abuse lecture. Just shut the fan down on that radio. It was louder than I thought. So off we went from our workshops at the side of the hangar into the T-bar, and we sat down in front of a big screen, and I think it was an army major delivered the lecture, and showing the ills of alcohol and the what would happen if you took drugs. Usually at the end of these lectures, people couldn't get out of the room quick enough, and at the end of it the major says, and that's the end of my lecture, so we're a little bit early, it's 4:45, but I don't think anybody will mind if you knock off early. After all, it is Christmas. Nobody moved. He waited a little while, and he said it again, and still nobody moved. So after the third time, he and nobody moving, he obviously knew something was up. So he asked the question, why is nobody going? You know, what's happening? Anyway, one of the REME staff sergeant put his hand up and replied, "Sir, we don't get much time off. It's Christmas and New Year. It's actually the 24th. So Christmas Day tomorrow. There's no flying for 5 days except for the Q aircraft. We have plenty of spares available for them. The Air Force boys have seen to that. And that bar behind you opens for 5 days at 5 o'clock. Bye, sir." The Major left, and yes, the bar was open for 5 days, but nobody, even drinking beer, could exist for 5 days. But basically, it was somewhere where anybody could go, have a beer, meet somebody, have a chat, etc., etc. over Christmas, because it was no flying, apart from the quick reaction aircraft, just in case anybody came to visit. So, moving on. Let's talk about this week's Shoutout. And this week's Shoutout is a channel called Campervan Tales. I say, links below. Maybe it's up there somewhere, one of these corners. And what's this channel about? Well, it's another camping motorhome channel, run by Daryl and Keith. They converted an old ambulance into a motorhome. They call it Amble. So you can see the conversion and the trials and tribulations of that. It's a very good conversion. They visit towns and villages throughout the UK, looking at history and traditions and beer and cafes and the like. They have 2 lovely dogs, Rom and Tor. They do some van tours and they geocache. It's a lovely channel, well worth a visit and well worth subscribing. So get on over there after I've finished and check them out. And that ends this week's Waffle. Hopefully I haven't gone on too long, and we'll see you next week for some more Desmond Stonders with the photo diary, the video diary, and don't forget the Haber or the Waffle on a Wednesday. Bye for now.